Good morning. My name is Imofunso. I'm a junior developer at IT Solutions based in Gold Coast. Recently, me and my team was assigned to build a camera motion sensor system application for mobile phones. So, in this presentation, I'll be taking you to the steps by steps of how we were able to come up with the solution and how we build the application or the product as a whole. Objectives of my today's presentations are uh, first is I'll briefly talk about Scrum meeting. I'll just give the generic description about how the Scrum meeting happens, and then I'll talk about the Scrum sprints that me and my team came up with, and finally the impact of the technology trends, which are Docker and containerizations. For this project, me and my team has used the agile software development lifecycle, where Scrum is one of the framework or the tool that the team uses to produce products faster by breaking the large development projects into a smaller pieces that can be completed in a shorter time period. And in a Scrum meeting, there should always be a Scrum master who facilitates the whole project, and there should be a product owner who is like a project manager, and obviously the development team. And there are different types of Scrum meeting, or the different events that happens during the Scrum meeting. So the first event or the types is sprint planning, and the second is daily Scrum. Third, the sprint review. The fourth, the sprint retrospective, and the final one, the backlog refinement. For this project, we had to produce two sprints. Where the first sprint, we developed the camera motion sensor system application for the mobiles. And as you can see in the UI application, we have created several user stories, tasks and subtasks, assigning certain period of time for each user task and user story and task, just to make sure that we complete everything on time. And as mentioned, we successfully completed the sprint one. And the manufacturer, when our application was on the production level, the manufacturer wanted some new improvements, and want to add new features to the application, which was to use the pin code to activate and deactivate the system, and whenever unusual activities happen around the vicinity, the alarm has to be sent to the user's iPhone. So those were the new features that the manufacturer wanted us to implement in our application, and that's where we had to come up with the second sprint. And as I mentioned above, like in our the Jira application, we have all the user stories and the subtasks for the second sprint. I'll briefly talk about the impact of the latest technology trends, which are containerization and Docker. So what is containerization? It is a process of packaging the software code and its dependencies, libraries, and all the components related to the application into a single container, and which runs consistently on any platform or machine, is called containerization. It has a massive benefits towards the developers and the development teams, and I'll go through a couple of benefits of why it is important. The first one is portability. As defined in the definition, the container consists of all the software codes and its libraries and all the components in it. So it is easier to move or ship from one machine to another machine. So this is what portability means. And the next benefit is fault isolation. Each containerized application is isolated and operates independently from others. So that means, if one application or one container fails to operate, it does not affect the other containers in application. So that's why it is fault isolation. And also the development teams can identify and rectify the problems or the issues in a container without affecting the other containers. So this is why it is impacting the developers and development teams. On the other hand, Docker is an open platform for developing, shipping, and running our applications. Docker enables us to separate our application from the infrastructure so that we can deliver the software quickly. A few benefits are improved and seamless container portability. The second is container versioning, and the third one is a container reuse. We have written a detailed benefits about the Docker, why Docker is important in our report. So this brings to the end of my presentation. Thank you.